Hey guys, we just opened up a little bit early today to test some other streaming to see if we're getting on to the Facebook channels as well as YouTube. And I just going to take a minute to have a bit of a look and see if I can work that out, guys. So it does look like we're on. Interesting. Looks like we're on, but I can't see in the chart. The Facebook channels as well. Just going to take a minute to have a bit of a look and see if I can work that out, guys. So, rightio, I think we're okay. I'm going to Hi guys, how you doing? All good on Zoom. Zoom's good. Thanks, John. Do I have powers? Yes, Alexis. Sunfar Lee, welcome along. Same link as above, I'd imagine so, Orlando. Guys, we'll start forming in a couple of minutes. Someone tells me we're all good on Zoom. It looks to me like we're on. Sorry, mate, Galaxy SB. I figured that's Helen again. Just a bit to do here. Let me just do a couple of things. Is it possible, Alexis, could you check the ATW Facebook? Lloyd, could you check the OTP Facebook? And Geoff, could you check YouTube and let me know, please?
Sure.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. I'm just making you guys all co-hosts, so you've got all the same rights. We're equal opportunity people. We are. Look, we will be underway in about a minute. We've just logged in early so we can check into a few different things. Just going to give Orlando his powers and I'll go through the makeup for tonight. Guys, got a few pop-ups popping up here and there on my computer. Cool. If anyone can just confirm for me if we're on, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen us on Access Wealth Facebook. If you can confirm for me whether we're on Access Wealth Facebook as well as
Paul, yep, you're on ATW Facebook.
Fantastic. Can anyone check if I'm on YouTube?
You're good.
Ah, look at this, guys. We're famous. We're all over the place. Cheers, guys. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. I haven't got an answer on OTP Facebook, but I'm just going to accept that as if the others are working, it's likely to work. Looks like we are multi-streaming for the first time, guys. Trader Talk Radio, the Sunday session, is live to everyone in the world. We are YouTube, we are Facebook, Access to Wealth, we are Facebook, Online Trading Profits. I understand in the next week or so we could be live to Twitter as well. We will be busy. In the meantime, guys, I want to run through a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. We're now at official start time, and I do want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for today. Look, we're going to start off with a bit of a chat. We'll have Alexis on fundamentals in a few minutes. Orlando's going to do 4 charts. If you can let us know which 4 charts they are, Orlando. I think we'll see Julian about quarter 2. 5-2, we'll see Ping need to do oil. You guys, first time in Ping need been with us for a while, has made a lot of money on oil recently. Ainslie on gold. Well, no one's made more money than gold. I think we saw her on Wednesday night show her account up $250,000 in open positions right now. Lloyd's going to do the currency index analysis. Geoff's on 4 charts. Then we're going to have a break. We'll probably have a company chat a little bit after that. I've got a quick meeting in between, guys. So it looks like we're going to be pretty busy. Let me just have a little look and see who's in. Guys, I'm really pleased that it's running. I wouldn't mind if we can keep a bit of an eye on those streams and make sure everything is okay with them. That would be wonderful. I'm sorry, as the team know, I'm on holiday in Mount Maunganui this week and just a little bit limited in a few things. I don't have quite the same. I'm turning off my phone for internet. The resort that I'm in, I can't believe doesn't have decent internet. It seems a bit weird to me, but that's the thing. So, guys, big week, pretty big pullback on Friday after some decent moves. What do we all make of it? Any thoughts on it, guys?
Yeah, praise the Lord. How long's that been coming? Thank goodness.
Nice, mate. Do you have your 4 charts for later on in mind, Geoff?
Yes, I do, mate. I'm going to have a look at, again, I'm concentrating on the miners because I think the The US dollar is a little bit too hard to predict and is in need of a strong pullback very, very soon. But I think I've been saying that for the last month and it just hasn't happened. So I've gone CAD. I'm kind of yen
Me too.
anti this week. So I'm going CAD yen, Aussie yen, Kiwi yen, and I'm going to reiterate my thoughts on euro pound, which I think has still got some left in it.
That'll be interesting. One of the euro pounds done a little bit recently. Well, yeah, look, we're a couple of minutes away from going to Ainslie to see what, from going to Alexis to hear about fundamentals before we go to Orlando to hear his 4 charts. Orlando, what are your 4 charts?
Well, I was thinking about doing a little bit of yen futures. Then the pound, the Swiss franc versus the yen. And I want to go also the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar because it has hit that big selling spot. And that'll be it. Also the US dollar versus the CAD.
Okay, that sounds good, guys. Geoff, you coming straight off a week off?
Yes, mate. Looking forward to getting back into it. I'd have to say, not completely a week off. We did stay in touch with our slingshot strategy people, and they should have had a reasonable week last week with many opportunities with those retracements on offer. So yeah, we're still in touch. So I think I'm just.
Well, mate, it was a good week for the Action Smith clients as a group. I think Julian came home strong on his broadcast group. Ainslie's new broadcast group's up and running, and that is a tremendous addition to the program. The slingshot went well as well. I'm sure that Ash had a pretty good week inside his show. It looks like it's been a really good week all the way around.
Interesting. As the trends kind of slowed down, that maybe we've just got that retracement fever back. Good.
I'm interested to see how it plays out. I'm really looking forward to getting some opinions today. Ainslie on gold will be fascinating. We know she's had a fantastic run, but what's coming this week? Where does he think it's coming? Are we going to see retracement or are we going to see extension? Same with Ping Ni on oil, first time in the show, and Lloyd with his currency strength stuff should be fascinating as well. So we've got lots of stuff to do. We're going to start off right on time though with Alexis. Alexis, fundamentally, how do we look this week?
Hi. All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, great to be back. Anyway, so I think last week there was certain data that came out that I think a lot of people were wondering, like, for example, the US dollar GDP was down, the quarterly was down like minus 32%. So I want to do some digging and, to see what's happening. And coincidentally, the Singapore GDP is also down minus 41% Q on Q. But what the quarterly statistic means is just that it's a contraction from the previous quarter as compared to last year's quarter. See, so it's just maths. But the interesting part is, I think, when we kind of look at the number of stuff that makes a NASDAQ. I'm just going to share a couple of PowerPoints, really quick ones. So I did some. Will it affect the stream if I share PowerPoints, Paul?
No, you're fine. You can share. I'm sure that'll be fine. I'll keep an eye on the screen in case there's any issues. Interesting.
All right, so I just did a couple of digging on like the components. I guess if you guys are trading the SPX 500 and the NASDAQ, you'll know the components of what makes up the stocks that makes up the various aspects of it. So I want to do just a little bit of digging in terms of what's the GDP component, etc., etc. So this is a couple of, all right, so this statistics I'm flashing right now, it's basically on the left side, you see the NASDAQ and the S&P weightage of each sector, right? So the thing why I'm looking at each sector is because when you think about COVID, when we think about the shutdown, on the left side, you see the different weightage in sector. So if we look at the different sector, and on the right side, this column over here, it's the GDP contribution in terms of sector to the US, right? So we have manufacturing 11%, retail trade 5.5%, arts, entertainment, recreation 4.2%. And I did this little blurry thing, transportation and warehousing, because I'm not sure exactly where tourism is. All right, so the stats over here, makes up the GDP contribution per sector in the US dollar. But when we look at the other sectors that are affected, so let's just see, this is taken from the Select USA government website, where it's a tourism the tourism website. So basically in 2017, the US travel and tourism made up 2.8% of GDP. So I'm just wondering, where is this reflected in the different sectors, right? And coincidentally, if we look at Singapore, 2017, 4.1% of Singapore's GDP is in 2017. So when we are talking about tourism, we're not just talking about what we call it, travel. We're talking about food. We're talking about food, services, retail, business, and also manufacturing to support this area. So I think the tourism sector in is a big question mark over here, which is a little bit deceptive, because where are the tourism stocks that you see in the S&P 500? So I haven't had the time to go all 500 to see what has a weightage in that, because I'm figuring, okay, probably transportation is the airlines, and we don't really have consideration of that sector. So that was probably they lumped it under the retail minus 34 point something percent based on the statistics. So I think the heaviness of the quarter over quarter GDP figures actually comes a large part from the tourism sector, which it's common sense where everybody's not traveling. But I think that there's a deeper impact in that, where we're talking about jobs. All right, so in the US alone, it provides for about 11% of US export, and this is just travel and tourism exports, right? And it's about 1.6 trillion in economic output. This is about 7.8 US million jobs. So I think this is a big sector that it's not very clearly reflected in the main statistics, because these are the definitions of the statistics where the breakdown comes from what is in the S&P and all that. And you can see it's, hotels, restaurants, retailers, they're all lumped under consumer discretionary. So this is the S&P companies sectors and the NASDAQ sectors over here. All right, so I'm just curious, the reflection of the, the reflection of the stock prices versus actual economic performance. So with that, the currency pair I'm looking at next week is actually the dollar Sing. All right, because I think the dollar Sing has quite pretty nice room to move. So I'm not going to share the chart. You guys can go check it out on your own. But basically, I think if we go on the daily time frame, I think the dollar Sing is at an interesting area, and I am looking for more weakening of the dollar and actually a strengthening of the Sing also on the back of the completed elections in Singapore. So with that, done for the fundamentals. So hope this gives you guys food for thought. And back to you, Paul, and whoever's next.
Cheers, Alexis. Sorry, just a couple of things in the background to get ready. Looking for weakening of the dollar and strengthening of the Sing. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
We'll like that. We'll keep a good eye on that and talk to you next week. Thank you very much for your section.
Yes.
Orlando,
hey,
time
how
to
are
get
you,
in. Oh, mate, I'm good. How are you? How are things in El Salvador?
It's everything is very calm here at 3 a.m. in the morning, No, but
mate,
thank you for asking.
That is good, mate. Mate, been more of a trend trader and a retracement trader week than a swing trader week. But the week ahead, mate, what are you looking for and what are you looking at for this week?
Well, what I'm looking for this week, let me just share my screen, right? Okay, can everybody see my screen now? Hold on. I think everybody can see my screen. So the first thing that I want to go through. Your screen up. All right. So the first thing that I want to go through is this yen move, right? This is the yen, the futures, the yen futures chart, and well, this is the 1 hour chart. Let's go to the 450-minute chart. The only reason that I go to the 450-minute chart, not the 4 hour chart or the 3 hour chart, is just to take out the noise of the chart. So basically, we were looking at this spot in yen futures last week, right? And we were looking for a breakdown of this, structure in yen futures. Okay. Now that didn't happen, as you can see, this big volume zone held perfectly on the yen in yen futures, and then we had a big move to the upside. Now what we did here, and what I'm looking for, is still a weakness in the yen, and we played this weakness in the yen on the Swiss franc versus the yen when the Swiss franc versus the yen broke to the upside, right? So we had a negative move on the yen and a break above on the Swiss franc versus the yen. And I'm looking for more downside on the yen this week, mate. That is if we can actually trade below these highs. This is a very, very strong um, level on the yen future. So if we manage to trade below this low, I'm sorry, below this high, the possibility of a break of this structure is going to be very high. So if this scenario plays out, I will be looking to sell more Japanese yens next week.
So, Orlando, just to check, mate. So a couple of levels there. You're looking for the old high to go, the horizontal level in the futures, and then for a test of that, the base of that trend channel, and a retest of that from below as well, right?
Exactly.
So you're really looking for it to break both and retest from the bottom.
This
I always find channel breaks really interesting. Quite often you get a channel break and a retest. It gives you a higher high. It can be quite confusing for people because the channel line's running back up and it breaks and it retests and it puts in a higher high. But if you get reversal off, if you get a break below and a retest and reversal off that channel, you're pretty good to go, right?
Exactly. The area that I will be looking for some actual support is this one right here, the point of control of the entire volume since March 2020, since the beginning of March. So this is a big area that I'm looking for some real buyers to jump in if this scenario plays out. In any case, coming back to the Swiss franc versus the yen, we broke with this high, which was which was our first target. But what I'm looking here is a more long-term move to the upside. Even if we go to the 3-day chart, you can see that we are testing some big levels right here. This is a big structure dating from April 2017, right? That we are testing right now. This move looks a little bit overextended, and I will be looking to take more profits at these levels. But if we come back to the 3-hour chart, let's say, no, let's go to the hourly. We can see that we've had a retest of the previous broken level. So in the short term, it wouldn't be a bad idea to look for buys if this if this area of support holds, right? For the short term, the targets to the upside will be around the 1660 at the retest of the big structure that we just saw on the higher time frames, right? This move, well, if you calculate the targets on the breakout of this structure, this is a continuation structure that I'm looking at right here that we traded, right? So if we calculate the targets, this would be a 250 pip from Paul to these, well, it would be a 200 pip move from the breakout, which if we follow the calculated targets, it will leave us another 50 pips to run to the upside. And right now, if this level holds, it will give us a nice 20 pip stop loss for a 70 pip profit or TP1, right? So this is a something that I'm really looking at for tomorrow's open. But the one that I'm really looking for is this one. I've been waiting for this breakout on the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar for a while now. The actual zone that I was looking for big sales was the 6750, which is a massive area in historic price action that has been tested twice already, and big sellers have jumped in right here. We've had some very big moves to the upside after seeing bulls in control of the market, right? When we hit this level, we've had some massive breakdowns. And this is just this line right here. It's just the move that we saw on the previous test, right? I just extrapolated it. But the thing is that price didn't quite got to that level, and it closed extremely bearish on Friday. If you notice this red candle right here, So I will be looking at tomorrow's open to see, and let's go to a lower time frame, right? So we can actually see the levels that I'm working with. Um, I will be looking for a break of these lows for an opportunity to sell. Right now, of course, there's absolutely no setup to take, but the immediate bullish structure that we are looking at right now is kind of breaking, right? And well, like I told you before, we didn't quite hit the level that I was looking at. But if we manage to break and retest and hold this level, uh, here it would be my opportunity to sell the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar on a very tight risk, right? That's the reason that I won't be blindly selling this currency pair at the open. But if this scenario plays out and we have some kind of consolidation here that price trades in, I would sell the breakout with a tight stop loss. And I would be playing this long term. Well, not long term, but I will be playing extremely careful, right? This the move to the downside. If we manage to also break with some big levels that we have very close to that entry. So that's something that I've been waiting for a while now, since we're trading around these levels, actually.
Lando, what's your key level there on the Kiwi?
Excuse me?
What's your key level there on the Kiwi? What's the level you're trying to break?
Okay, cool. So the key level that I'm talking about, the blue one, is the 66.15 level. So I will be looking at the breakout of that level and the retest and some sort of consolidation to get me in on a short position. So that would be the level that I would be watching.
Right, before you move on to another currency pair, just thought I might invite the team. And we've spoken about the yen, we've spoken about the Swiss yen, we've spoken about the Kiwi. I thought I might invite the team. Anyone else got any thoughts on the Kiwi?
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of Kiwi weakness, but I'm not particularly a fan of trading it against the dollar. I think there's better currencies to trade it against because the dollar is just such a perhaps at the moment. We're all bearish the dollar and the whole world is bearish the dollar. But
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's got to retrace at some stage, hasn't it?
Yeah, but the US dollar, I mean, if you did, this is the DXY chart, and I was looking at this. Yeah.
Let me just jump over a second. I just want to keep order on this. So, Geoff, you're going to look at the Kiwi short versus the yen, and Orlando's going to look at the Kiwi short versus the US dollar, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. So both Kiwi dollar short. Interesting. I'd have thought there's a bit of feeling around for yen shortness as well, and a US short yen as well, weren't you? So you definitely want to be short in the Kiwi versus the yen. Nice to have some different views on this on the currencies. So interesting that the other currency, that the yen and the US dollar, is an area where we still have quite a lot of divided opinion, I think, amongst traders generally around what is going to happen. And this US dollar is certainly. Friday certainly sparked a bit of nerves, I think, in the US dollar move we've just had. Okay, so we've got Kiwi short versus the US for Orlando, and that's off levels. Geoff's going to come in and show us Kiwi short versus the yen at some stage. Where were you going to, Orlando?
I was finishing off with the USD CAD. The reason that I'm looking at the USD CAD is because we have that massive level at the 133, right? If we go to the, I don't know, no, that's too much actually, to the daily chart. Well, this is a massive level on the USD CAD, right? And I was looking at a buy on a retest at the end of last week, but I was looking at the lower time frames, right? And I saw that we didn't quite got there, so I was expecting another leg down on a 5 swing down on this diagonal, right before entering long. So I didn't get triggered on this one, but if the previous highs hold, well, I actually wouldn't be buying at these levels. What I would be waiting for is a move to the upside and a retest of these lows right here because that would break the immediate bearish structure, and that would give me a better risk entry, right, for a better TP, so a better risk to reward ratio. And right, I mean, and if and taking a long right here would be actually would be a lot riskier, in the sense that the risk to reward would not be within the rules, right? So in regards to the USD CAD, yeah, I'm a fan of buying this currency next week, if and only if we manage to break with the immediate bearish structure and this level, which is the 135 level. So I would be buying above the 135 level on a retracement back to it.
It's fascinating stuff. I've got to say, I'm quite enjoying this part of the show. And look, I want to open up the questions. If you're watching this on the Zoom, you can post any questions into Zoom. If you're on the YouTube or the Facebook and you post questions, we may or may not be able to pick them up. If someone can, that would be good. Normally, I'm running on about 3 screens, but because I'm on holiday, I'm just on my laptop today, and I can't monitor all of it at the same time. But one of the team may pick it up. But Orlando, I'm going to invite the team for some interest in this. But one of the things that I'm getting the theme from you is your dollar long this week.
Yeah, basically, yes, exactly. I wanted to show you guys this. This is just lines on my DXY chart, but I did like how the dollar closed last week.
DXY is the dollar index, right?
Yes, the US dollar currency index.
We'll have a lot of people in the show who know exactly what the dollar index is, but for those that are new to trading, the dollar index shows the US dollar versus a basket of other currencies. It's heavily weighted by the euro, so about 60% of it is it 60%? I can remember 62, 63% is off the euro, but the others are all in there as well, and so it does give you a pretty good indication of. And look, I think we've got some interesting things to talk about, Orlando. And team, please feel free to jump in, but I've got a couple of things for you.
Okay.
2 charts showing 2 massive key levels not hit. Interesting. I wonder what's going on. I wonder why we're not quite getting there.
On the Kiwi.
Well, the Kiwi and the CAD both didn't quite get to the levels you were looking for, right?
Exactly. Both didn't quite got there. And that's the reason that I'm not going to be jumping on blindly. Well, I'm never going to jump on blindly, but that I will be very careful for those levels that I just point out to break and hold, because that would give me the trigger to take the position, because that would give me the bias on my side, right? Because it might happen that we get, for example, on the Kiwi, that we get to this level and then we get a new leg higher, right? Or on the CAD, that we open higher and then we get that new leg down to the 133. So that's the main reasons that I'm looking for that level.
Sorry, Elena. Do you mind blowing the charts up? Team, feel free to dive in if you've got any questions on any of this kind of stuff. You're welcome to jump in on the Kiwi or the CAD with Elena if you've got any questions. So 2 key levels not hit, which is fascinating for mine. Now, the big reversal on Friday, I love trading because it does throw up these fantastic questions, right? Was the Friday reversal, and this is my opinion, it could well have been end of day, end of week, end of month, and people who had a position closed that position and provided emphasis the other way. Because people are taking profits before a lot of funds don't carry positions over months. They close them off and back them for reporting. Same for weeks, same for days for different people. Did that create this US dollar roll up, or is this the start of a bit of reverse from the US dollar? Not a lot fundamental to support, strengthen the US dollar, but boy, the charts show it, which is fascinating for me generally. Again, guys, if you have any questions about this, team, if you want to jump into this, you're welcome to jump into this. But Orlando, can we go back to your dollar index chart?
Yeah, I'm actually this is the only 3 charts that I'm heavily looking at, Paul. At the moment, these are the 3 charts that I'm heavily looking at.
You're saying that, and I can see 8 charts. You're looking at.
Oh yeah. That's just my layout.
Yeah, sorry. Can we see your dollar index chart again?
Yeah, sure. Right here. So let's go to the to a higher time frame. So basically, all the levels that I have been looking at, and these are historically very strong levels on the US dollar currency index. They all have been broken with. There has not been a higher high printed, but it's it's quite curious how Friday closed, right? Very strong, and as you can say, it can be taking profits or end of month bullishness, or I'm sorry, end of month taking profit taking or whatever. But yeah, this chart looks extremely bearish, and fundamentally speaking, I don't see anything that can push the dollar up. But the thing is that hold on, let me go to a higher time frame. The thing is that we are coming up to some very important swing levels, right? These are,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, um, very important levels on the DXY, and it's very curious that we bounce off of these levels on Friday, right?
Yeah.
And what I will be looking on for next week on the DXY, basically, I mean, if we get a rally, I wouldn't consider it a rally, more than a recovery rally, or a bear rally to maybe these lows right here. But I don't know what did you want to look at on the DXY, mate?
I just want to look at the chart. I mean, I think you're talking about it really well. I think that level's really important, Orlando. And, it's clearly we've seen this US dollar bounce, and you see we haven't seen a higher high. And it looks to me like from DXY is the US dollar index. Thanks for the question, Joe. Are we going to see a higher high printed here? And if it does pull back from a higher high to a higher low, will we see some buying of the US dollar, or are we going to see this start and head back down from here and be a lower high and create a lower low and get the world back in below your level there? It's going to be an interesting start of the week around the US dollar. I think
it will be.
It's the place to look, isn't it? If we can get some clarity around direction on the US dollar Monday, Tuesday, it'll set the week and the month up pretty nicely for us, right?
Exactly. And the thing is that, Paul, if the US dollar managed to break with these highs, in my opinion, right? If we manage to break with this zone, that can trigger a sell-off on the NZD USD, right? That can trigger a sell-off on the NZD USD. We actually don't need a super strong US dollar to trigger a sell-off on the New Zealand dollar. On the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the US dollar, and like I pointed out, very curious how it closed and how it bounced from that very, very important level.
Look, it looks like an unfinished story to me, that bounce on Friday. We're going to hear some more about this Monday, Tuesday. Orlando, thank you very much for your analysis. Always fascinating to hear what you've got to say, mate. Really appreciate you getting up at 3:30 in the morning. And mate, 3:30, much appreciated. Always a pleasure, Orlando. Look, it's time for our guest spot. I know Julian's in the room. Julian, you've got anything you'd like to share today?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, mate.
How is everybody doing? I hope you're having a fantastic trading week. It was a good week this week, I think. Lots of really clear signals and some very exciting trend moves. And then also on top of that, we had the reversal on Friday. So it's been a pretty exciting time. Paul, I hope you can still hear me. I've got some strange things going on.
I can hear you fine. I lost my screen. Orlando stopped sharing his screen. Is all that's happened, mate. I can hear you fine. We just don't have a screen up. Do you want me to share a screen? I don't have my Fusion screen on my laptop, so I can only share a IFS screen today.
That'll be fine for me, Paul. I don't need anything else. You can't get coffee on either, right?
Well, we think maybe the next couple of weeks we'll have coffee not far away. Mate, I heard earlier from you some pretty cool things about coffee. It's been pretty good to be along that, hasn't
it? It has been. It's I was just talking to some of the students. We were just doing a coaching session, and I was showing them the coffee chart, and I said it's almost a classic example of the sentiment cycle, where you've gone from discouragement to the higher low, the aversion point, and then an explosion into the about 20% higher of the coffee price, which over the course of the last 2 weeks, which has been pretty spectacular. And we're seeing a few of those happen out there in some of the commodities. I think some of this is related to what's going on with gold and going on with some of the other markets as well too, where people are thinking about inflation again and what it means. So that tends to draw people's attentions to hard assets. And the coffee market is no exception. It's trading well below cost, so it wouldn't be that surprising to me if it rallies. And also a lot of those fields, I think, have been really badly affected by COVID as well too. So yeah, so it's been. Sorry, Paul.
So mate, you were talking about the aversion trade on coffee and how it went really quickly. Is it aversion trade time for the US dollar? If that pulled back and put in a higher low, would that start to look sentiment cycly to you?
Yeah, I think I probably need to see a little bit more evidence. Sometimes we get, so there are two patterns in the foreign exchange market. One is where you essentially have a bit of a consolidation, and then the market decides what it's going to do next. And the other one is where the market has very much a V-shaped movement to it. And I think to see the US dollar reverse here in a V-shaped fashion, I think would be quite unusual. It could easily do it, and who knows? We'll sort of trade it as we see it. But I think for a reserve currency, especially a reserve currency pair like the euro US dollar, for that to have the V-shaped type of movement is, again, quite unusual. And I'm not sure that we haven't started something new here in terms of a euro rally. I always sort of, I get really worried about calling for a significant euro rally. I think 145 to me in my head is like a lock. I think it's going to happen, and the reason why I think it's going to happen is the Europeans are moving towards greater fiscal union because of the way in which they're borrowing money now. But that's me with my pro-European hat. I'm often, when I come on these shows, about the only guy out there who's a pro-European. So it's often seen as being a negative thing, the fact that all the Europeans are borrowing money collectively. So you can argue that two or three ways. I view it as really positively, and I think it's a great step forward and part of the overall journey to restore the euro back to some kind of normality, I guess, which is somewhere between 125 and 140 when I look at the longer term or monthly charts. But that doesn't mean to say that we're not going to go all over the place before we get there, right? Yeah. So when you look at that monthly chart on the sentiment cycle, I would be saying that that is an aversion point trade, what we did over the course of the last 5 months. So there's your higher low, and we are now starting the beginnings of an accelerated move higher, potentially. I always have to use this word potentially because anything can happen. And you've got to trade it as you see it. But the back of my mind is that monthly chart, which means that 125 area is quite interesting and quite compelling. And beyond that, you've got up to 135, 138, the usual Fibonacci numbers that you'd be looking at. So look, this is sort of blue sky thinking here, right? So this also requires a significant change in the macro environment. So you can argue a Biden victory might well provide that impetus that we need. So further devaluation of the US dollar, but we're a long way from proving it. And by the way, guys, trading this is, if you're putting your pension plan into it, then maybe this is something you consider. What we're worried about is what's going to happen on Monday morning. So when we look at that, what I use this for is a basic indicator of the vague trend to me. And then I just try and figure out what it means on daily and weekly charts to go back to trying to make some money out of it. But the trends across all of the, against the US dollar have been pretty strong recently. But I absolutely get Orlando's, reversal idea, because the way they traded on Friday, they traded like a bit of a dog on Friday, pretty much collectively the whole lot. So we'll see. It's come a long way, right? That whole thing has come from 112 up to 117. It's been a pretty dramatic move.
Yeah, great, quite quick, right?
Yeah, exactly. So none of this would be surprising if we saw it retrace this week. I don't think there'd be any issues with that at all. So, what level that looks like, we'll have to have a think about it. But when it gets out there, when it looks to be putting a retracement in, I think we'll probably be looking to go long rather than necessarily trading the short, unless it doesn't retrace or we have some kind of move back to the top side, which then fails. So I tend to look at the price action, just trade it as we see it when it turns up. But the back of my mind, I'm overall bullish on this.
Cool, mate. And Robert's just saying it's got a percent R signal on it at the moment, so that'll attract a bit of interest along the way as well, right? There'll be some people buying this on Monday morning, most likely on the strength of the retracement, right?
Yeah, exactly. With these things, sometimes those retracements can go deep. We'll see what happens. I would expect, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that tomorrow morning we may have a gap down. I don't know. We'll see what the news was over the weekend. I've given up trying to interpret the news on the weekend these days. It's really sort of what the market decides to interpret of it, I think, is far more important. If you really, when I'm looking at them, Paul, I would look at cable and say cable's a better bet for me, but rather than the euro, I think cable trade's great. It's in line with the long-term cycles that it should be starting to rally now, and the way the market's trading, it trades pretty strong, and that supports my thesis that I'm bearish of euro sterling. So I think that euro sterling should be going down, and mainly because I think the British pound is performing quite well. It's thank you. That's the euro sterling, and that had an outside week last week. So that's normally quite an interesting eventuality when it happens at the top of a trading range.
Yeah, it does look bearish, doesn't it? Boy, that pound chart's the cable chart is strong, Julian. That's when you go back to your daily, you're talking about until Friday we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 consecutive buying days, and some pretty good ones in the mix. That's a pretty strong run up.
It is, and I've been like a bit of a broken record about cable for the last 2 or 3 months. I've maintained my bullish stance. This is a bullish time for the next 18 months for cable. No idea where it's going to get to. Why don't we speculate and say 160 seems about the right number, which is clearly a substantial move higher, right? But that's sort of what you get at this stage of the 7 or 8 year cycle, right? So it's the sort of thing that you're expecting with that strength. All sorts of reasons why it might not go there, all sorts of reasons why it might go higher. So we'll just have to wait and see. I always like to try and guess numbers where it might eventually end up, but realistically, this is about just trading it as we see it.
You think we're looking for a bit of a pullback before we go again?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Look, I think, again, this whole thing, the market's overbought, right? So we get that. And to Galaxy S8, this is, Brexit is just another acceleration point in the upward trend.
This is Helen.
Yeah, look, there's a 6 to 8 year cycle in British pound.
Don't think I can get a chart that shows that particularly.
No, you won't be able to. But I encourage some of the listeners, if they're interested, to go back and look at the chart over the course of the last 30 years, and they'll see that cycle. It's relatively clear. You've got to unpick it a little bit. But it's relatively clear, and we're in the up phase of that cycle now. So yeah, I'd expect cable to be rising. So the fact that it is doesn't actually concern me one iota. It's exactly what should be happening.
So we've got some interesting views, haven't we? And long-term cable up, long-term euro up. We've got Orlando looking to get short the Kiwi and short dollar CAD, and all of this can come true, can't it? Because we could easily see a week-long rally or a week-long pullback in the US dollar, and that'll give us some direction on some of these shorter-term trades as well, right? I think long-term,
Absolutely.
And long-term, we're looking at a bit of dollar weakness, but there may well be some pretty good rallies along the way, and higher highs and higher lows would change our mind on that pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things is you just got to have that that long-term view in mind. Maybe this is a time, if we're looking at this, to maybe, as I was positioned on Friday, you look at some of the crosses as being the slightly easier ones to trade. So euro sterling is a classic one. I believe that's starting to break down, and something like sterling Aussie as well too, which is one which we have positioned long. That's another one.
You got euro pound to TP3 on Friday, didn't you?
In one of the trades, yes, but we have 2 trades running, and there's 1 trade left that's still out there. So yeah, we're still working that. We've got positions at break even now, so that's working. The stop loss, is at break even, so that's just a free ride for us. We'll see where that one goes.
And you're in pound Aussie as well, aren't you?
I am indeed in the pound Aussie, and if you put that up on a daily chart, you'll see the reason why I'm in that pair. And you can see how that's moved the last few days.
Well, that's a big question. Do you want to get into that, or we do have time for that, or you?
Didn't see that. What was the question?
How will the US election affect? Sorry, my being Zoom, my chat has disappeared now. How will US election affect cable performance?
That is a great question, PL. Great question. My thoughts around this are I normally don't even know anything about the US electoral cycle apart from a vague recognition that it exists. The last 2 elections, I've obviously been slightly more involved because we've introduced an element of chaos into both of them. So the short answer is quite a lot. The longer answer is only if it makes a difference.
Actually, Julian, one last thing before we let you go. We're coming sort of towards the end of this sort of time thing. Actually, anything else you want off as well, but if this, given and I don't like to get into the politics of it, but given Donald Trump's apparent feeling that he shouldn't give up a position if he's not landslid out, if these polls tighten up, are we going to see some pretty interesting volatility around this election? Just generally.
Look, we're not dead yet. He's not dead yet. The polls, he's clearly got an uphill battle. The COVID has been a electoral disaster for him. There's not another way of putting it. But he has some very, very strong supporters in those Midwestern states who will always back the Republicans and always back Donald Trump. So I find it fascinating. It's very difficult when you're on the outside of America to understand how much stuff is going on in America. We always tend to get the distilled version, but there will be volatility. I have no doubt. If he was leading strongly in the polls, I think it would be a much easier call. The fact that he's lagging behind and needs something, that by definition means we're going to have volatility. I think it'll be a tough summer for the stock market, and I don't know what that means for the currencies. I genuinely don't know what it means. But if the Fed continues to act, continues to expand their balance sheet, I can suspect there'll be a lot more dollars in the system, and therefore the US dollar will continue to weaken.
Look, it's lots of different stuff going on around that. Julian, any final thought from you before we head over and speak to Ping Ni about oil? Guys, I need a WTI chart with a weekly pivot on. If someone can help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. Because I'm not on Fusion, I don't have it, and Ping Ni doesn't have it. So if someone can set one of those up for me, Ainslie perhaps, or Lloyd, you might have one. If someone can set me up a WTI chart with weekly pivot on, I'd appreciate it. Julian, any final thoughts?
Look, I just really reiterating what I'm saying, really, Paul. I think it's going to be a tough few weeks for stocks. This is the bullish time for gold and also the bullish time for Japanese yen. That means dollar yen should continue lower, although that'll be obviously after Friday's price action. We can expect that to be in fits and starts, but those are the 3 key seasonals for August.
Cheers, mate. Interesting. If it's a challenging time for stocks, it'll be interesting to see how the world. That certainly won't help chances of a Trump re-election. One wouldn't have thought. Cheers, mate. As always, really appreciate your input into it, and fascinating time. And mate, nice week on those trade calls. Busy trade call group this week, and particularly Friday, and a number of winners nailed away. Always nice to see another one of those. I'm looking for a WTI chart with daily pivot on it. My apologies, guys. If someone can help me out with that, that would be fantastic. Cheers, Julian. I'm going to just check the questions before I go, and we always get great questions.
WTI or XTI?
WTI, if you can. I think we'll get Ping Ni to come in. Ping Ni will be talking in a second, and he will let you know. You got it as well. Cheers, guys. I want to introduce Ping Ni, who's going to come in and speak next on oil. It's his first time in this show, so it's his first time on YouTube and Facebook, and I want to welcome him. He's a young fellow that's been trading very well over the last couple of years. I think he joined us a year ago on the Platinum program. Did a year. He's on a pretty good run. Ping Ni, are you in?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Ping Ni. How are you doing? Are you nervous?
It's quite a little nervous.
Cool, mate. You'll be fine. So just a little bit of cheers, Julian. Thanks, Paul. Ping Ni, just a little bit of history on you. You are basically the majority of the time now you're trading oil, right?
Yes.
And monthly return for you for the last couple of months, what kind of return are you looking to make?
For the last 3 months, the first 2 months, 20% each month, and last month is a surprisingly 30% return. Okay, so up 70% in 3 months. We do like that, Ping Ni. You'll have the attention of a few people. Now, one of the team has been good enough here to put up a WTI hourly chart on daily pivot. Is this what you're looking for? Yes, this is the correct chart.
So what do you think is going to happen this week coming up, mate?
There's a breakout downtrend on the Thursday. So for next week, I will be trading on this ranging from this WTI is the $20. Okay.
Oh, sorry. This is one of the problems at the moment. So this is WTI on IFS. So what we really need to do is we need to get over to Geoff. Do you have a fusion chart?
I think the price doesn't matter because we are more about the actions, price actions.
Look, let Geoff share the fusion chart. At least we'll get you the prices that you're used to. Are you okay to share the fusion chart, Geoff?
Yeah,
and that is XTI, isn't it?
That is XTI.
Oh, there we go, mate. Cheers. I can't remember exactly which way around it is, but one of them is futures and one of them is spot. And here comes Geoff. Those of you who joined us on Wednesday night heard a bit about the Fusion Markets accounts, and the session we did on Wednesday night, we'll be following it up in a couple of weeks just to explain some of that stuff in a bit more detail. I had a few questions about it. So here we go. So this is what we're looking for. Is this what you're looking for, Pangli?
Yes, this is the price action is actually the same.
Fantastic. So you had a sell-off on Thursday, and now we're ranging, right?
Yes, we are enter into a one-day consolidation range, and for next week, I will be still willing to trade this range is from $40 to around 39.5. Before this strong downtrend breakout, there's not so much movement compared to last time, about 70-80 pips daily. So I will be still trading about aiming for 50 pips profit each day, with my stop loss around 30 pips, depending on the action candle that I went into for the previous candle. So normally I will just trade this range where the interaction between the daily pivots. This oil has surprisingly a lot of interactions with this daily pivot. You can look through the histories. So I will be looking to sell when it is too high above the daily pivot, and I will look for this exhaustion buying patterns where I can see a reversal. Then I will try to short it after the confirmation candle, and same for the buying when it's below the daily pivot.
So, and you're looking for, so when we're above daily pivot, you're going to short it if you get the right candle pattern, and if it's below daily pivot, you're going to buy it if you get the right candle. Guys, it's not bad for 20 or 30% a week, is it? Pangli, you trade this pretty intensely, right? There's plenty of hours goes into this.
Yes, I will be based on my trade on 1 hour charts where I can get the right entry, then I will enter the 30 minutes or 15 minutes for the exact candle and the tighter stop loss with more profit to begin.
Look, I don't have the chart, and I'm not sure if Geoff can do it for me. Geoff, can you pop market scan on there and give us next week's daily pivot?
Yeah, I can, mate. Yep.
We'll just take Geoff a second to do that. We'll have a look at where the pivot's going to set up, Pangli, so we know the level that you're talking about. And what you're saying basically is until we get a breakout away from this, until it tells us we're wrong, we're going to trade back to if it moves away from the pivot, we're going to trade it back to the pivot. And this is a ranging product, right?
Yes.
And,
normally, I always trade the ranging, or when it is going to continue a trend, I will trade the trend. So for now, you will be ranging. I will be just following this technique.
One thing I really like about it, okay, no worries. We will sort out. I'm not quite sure what that is, but guys, I'll be back on my charts next week, and I'll have this stuff on. I'm sorry, I'm away, and I just don't have it on this computer. Okay, mate. Pangli, I want to. Anything else from you before we wind up your session?
It will be okay for me.
Look, thanks for coming in. I know you've always been a really good trader, but you've always been a guy that's just a little bit shy in a nice way. And I appreciate you having the courage to come along and share your stuff on the group. If anyone's got any questions, they're welcome to put them in the chat. I'll ask Pangli. If the team want to jump in and ask any questions, they're welcome to. One of the things I really like, when a guy's talking about 20 to 30% over the last 3 months per month, everybody expects incredibly complicated stuff. What's he doing? He's waiting it for bounce away from its average, which is the pivot, and trading it back. And are you targeting the pivot, or are you targeting the other end, your 50 pips?
Sorry?
Are you when you trade it from above the pivot back down, are you targeting the pivot or are you targeting about 50 pips?
No, I'm targeting about the previous candle's length and the plunge candle or the growth candle length from the pivot.
Okay, very good. We might get you to do a bit more work on that. We'll be having you do some more stuff for this not far away, and we might give a little bit more. Someone's asking what time the setups turn up for you on this, Pung Lee. What time are you trading this?
I can be trading after the 3 p.m. session and the 9 p.m. session. Most of the time will be after 9 p.m.
This is Singapore time, so after 9 p.m. Singapore, but you can trade after 3 p.m. Singapore. So you're trading after the US Open, right?
Yes.
And a little bit after the UK Open. You're a student, so you're on holiday at the moment, right? Trading a little bit more than you would be during the school term, right?
Right.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much. Anyone on the team got any questions? Guys, nice to see the show packing up. It's nice to see so many of you guys in here. Really do appreciate it. Look, if Pung Lee's the young fella come good who's trading the oil and trading really well, Ainslie's the one we've seen for the last few weeks, just showing us example after example of getting gold and getting it right. And I think one of the big questions for us this week, Ainsley, is where is gold going?
$150,000 question, I guess. Yeah, where is it going? If we're looking at Geoff, would you be able to help with the chart? Is that okay while you've got one there?
Sure, mate.
Yeah, gold 4 hourly, please. Because what we've got there is a very strong ascending triangle on the 4 hourly chart. We hit 1980 and then we came flying back down. It took $80 off the value of gold in quite a heartbeat, but you can see there is a very strong reversal bar there that Geoff just touched on. About 12 hours after that very strong reversal, Goldman Sachs sent out a report and revised their outlook for gold, going from 2,000 to 2,300 in the short term. So I think what we saw at the very bottom of that really strong reversal, very short, sharp and violent reversal, is a lot of institutional buying back up again. So the week's been a series of going up and retesting that 1980 level, which is very sensitive. Thursday, you can see it peaked above that 1980 level. It hit 1985. And then the bars are getting smaller, and then we've got it's a constant push up and up and up. It's been a slow grind all week, and I've got to say I haven't had a lot of sleep because after we had that second hit of 1980 and it came back down again, I was like, oh no, got a double top in place, and it's going to crash again. But it didn't. It recovered. It's gone back up. What I can see is, and I've got to agree with you on this one, Paul, time will only tell, is the end of the week, the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, and that correction that we saw in the currencies, didn't quite see that in gold, did we? So what we're seeing is the sentiment holding strong for gold and a belief that gold is still stronger than the US dollar. What we've got looking there is, I think we'll see, and it's going to get really volatile. We're in uncharted territory here. And let's face it, I mean, we're looking at 2,000. That's a nice round figure that we all like to look at and head for. Getting there is going to be a really bumpy ride, as this last week has seen. Get to 1980, it pulls back. Get to 1985, pulls back, but not as far, nowhere near as far. All the indicators, MACD, RSI, anything that you look at is trying to tell you stronger sentiment to move forward. And I think beginning of next week, I would like to see us crack up to 2,000. If you go to a daily chart, please, Geoff, the daily chart will, is it showing us? Not quite. We hit R3. So those closes are all, the daily close on Friday is smack bang on R3, and we don't normally.
Sorry, Ainsley, that's monthly R3 you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes. but the daily chart.
Yeah.
On the daily chart, it's hugging R3 there. So on a monthly pivot, and it's just this is nosebleed kind of country because we're in uncharted territory. We know the sentiment should push us up to 2000, and that's what I'm looking at. If we don't get above that and we just see a lot of profit taking around between 1985 and up to 2000, then look, I won't be surprised if there's another big pullback during the week. But that's where I'm heading towards, and then I'll book this profit because it's been a really good ride for me, and it's time to reevaluate beginning of month and see what happens, and then get ready for the next leg up to 2,300.
Couple of nice to go quick thoughts for you, Ainsley. Be interesting where weekly pivot goes this week. I wouldn't be at all surprised if weekly pivot pops in just below those those recent bars and gives you a nice retracement target for a move up again. Quite a detailed question on gold, and I think it's. I'll read it to you in case I'll read it out so other people at home can hear it. There's gold too bullish. The gold bulls are eyeing a future leg up in prices for second half 2020. But the key issue is the US real yields will likely rise in the coming months as the Fed delivers only opening QE and the inflation rate declines. With central bank and jewelry demand having slowed noticeably, it looks like gold prices are more at risk of correction. Look, one thing I'd really encourage you to do is people always tell you that their opinions are facts. When you say the key issue, I reckon you've read that somewhere, and there's more than one key issue in the pricing of gold. There's a heck of a lot to go, and I think that the inflation rate decline. I'm yet to find an economist. Julian might be in the room. He'll make correct me on this, but I don't think it's a basic economics that you can pour unlimited new money into the money supply and have no inflation. I don't think that's historically accurate. I think when you pour money into the money supply, you would expect to see a level of inflation at some point. There'll be some stagflation for a little while, but eventually you should see some level of inflation in that, to be fair. So, look, I think this is one of the great things about trading, right? This is about having an opinion, and this is the real key, right? If you think this is going to 2,000 or 2,300 or 3,000 or 10,000 or 1,800 or 1,900 or 1,500, all of those are valid opinions. If that's your opinion, it's a valid opinion. What trading is waiting for the chart to confirm your opinion, and not blindly changing an opinion, trading an opinion. That's called suicide or giving your money away. But waiting for chart confirmation on all this kind of stuff, everybody, it can work out. Any thoughts, Ainsley?
Yeah, no, agree. When your technicals and your fundamentals line up, that's when you've got these big moves and you hold on for dear life. As I said, is gold bullish? It's definitely bullish. I'm scared as, but as I said, I'm looking at the technicals, and even with that big pullback on, when was it? Monday, when it hit 1980, I was cool with that. I was fine, and I looked and went, 1980, expected that, because as the closer you get to those levels, you've got to be realistic with what people are doing with profit taking. Or driving the price back down again so they can get in at a better level. Every time Goldman Sachs releases a very fundamental or a revised outlook on a figure, and they're very specific and very precise, you can almost track back 12 hours before that or the day before. And there's been a lot of big buying or selling or whatever. Yeah. They release those kind of reports after their guys have got it. Call me cynical. But
they were releasing those internally into their VIP clients before they are releasing them to everybody else, right?
They are. Of course
that's their job, right?
Exactly. That's why they get paid the big bucks. Our job is to try and disseminate that kind of information and use it in part with the charts that we're seeing and the movements that we're seeing in the charts, and jump on board. We're not here to make the market. We don't have, I don't know about you, Paul, but my pockets aren't quite deep enough to change the market. But to get on the coattails of these other guys and take a run, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So seeing those kind of things and interpreting what we see and lining it up with the technical charts. I said I've got an ascending triangle here. I've got sentiment and fundamentals pushing this higher. I've got a US dollar that is not looking really good in the upcoming months. And as you said, well, they're printing more money and dumping all over it, and they're an absolute disarray in any kind of leadership. They're not exactly looking flash with the coronavirus. And I can say from Australia's point of view, we have a situation where we've got Victoria tonight has gone into stage 4 lockdown. 6 weeks of no businesses, no restaurants, no nothing, no takeaway. They've got an 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. They have got a second wave. And
hold on. Sorry, Ainsley. We need to get it factually correct. They've got an 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew.
What did I say? 5 p.m.
You said 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I was thinking an all-day curfew is tough. An all-day curfew is tough.
Sorry, getting carried away. 8
I want
p.m.
to jump into some of the
a.m.
comments. I want to jump into some of the comments here. I really like this. A couple of things that are said here. So gold comes down every time about 30 to 60 minutes from US Open, and then goes up again near 9:30 to 10 p.m. Singapore. Guys, I love this stuff. And here's my challenge to you guys. If you're in this room, right, write that down and test it for a week and find out whether it's true. If that's true, then you can trade that every day until it runs out, which could be days, weeks, months, or years, and you can bank a little bit of money. Gold comes down. This is from Ravinda. Thank you, Ravinda. I know Ravinda trades pretty well recently. What did we hear? Was it Ravinda last week? We heard there was up. He had knocked out several $1,000s of profits as well. Guys, what are you guys doing? Pingney's smashing it. Ainsley's smashing it. Ravinda's smashing it. Julian's trade calls are smashing it. Geoff. Gold comes down every time about 30 to 60 minutes from US Open and goes up again. And again near 9:30 to 10 p.m. Singapore.
7K.
Time it goes down again, starts coming up. Oh, time. It goes down again and starts coming up. Okay. I'll just read that again. Gold come down every time about 30 to 60 minutes from US Open and then goes up again. And again near 9:30 to 10 Singapore time, it goes down and starts coming up again. Look, a lot of the stuff around US Open, the UK market and the US markets often like to reverse each other a little bit. They say even though 2003 short term, they also say its new prediction is 4K and long term 10K. What's your view on that? I've tested for 1 week. Oh, you've tested your buying selling thing. Fantastic.
What's my view? I believe. Whilst we've got basket cases around the corner, and I really, like I said, Australia thought it had a coronavirus under control. We didn't, obviously, but I'm just saying that we are probably just a tip of the iceberg of what I think is going to come forward, what we're going to see in the next 6 months. Did you see the pictures out of Brighton Beach and there's some in Italy? I can't remember where they were. The beaches were absolutely packed. They were in cheek to jowl, and you just sort of think, this is Bondi Beach all over again, and that's how we had another hit. And as soon as that happens, it impacts oil. It impacts businesses going down like you wouldn't believe. People are getting closed down. You look at Melbourne, everything is getting closed down except for essential services. How can you actually have an economy running on that, you know?
Well, you can't. A couple of thoughts. Anyone who hasn't respected coronavirus has been made to pay for it, and everywhere, and it's even to the point of people overseas won't know this, but inside Australia, Victorians are they're the people that everybody everyone has a rivalry with them, and people don't like them. And New Zealanders, we have this rivalry with Australia. We like to give them a bit of grief, but it's actually got to the point with coronavirus now where you just can't even make a bad joke about it. It's just too sad. It's just awful. And I do hope that they get it right and they get rid of it. Ravinda's up 7K, and nice work, mate. Guys, these numbers are in the chats, and we're not making these up. These are what guys who we've taught to trade are making. A lot of these guys sitting in the US session with Ash and Geoff every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's their paid show. I think it's $35 a month to be in that. And guys, and boy, they've got the crypto man in there as well. I know he's in the room listening. We'll be talking to him when I get back from holiday. Guys, it's it's great to see these things. Oh yeah, Aussie COVID numbers are up and deaths are up as well. And younger, 40 and 50-year-olds, 40 and 50-year-olds dying in Australia. I think Australians thought that was never going to happen. It's been a really... Look, I just want to get in a couple of things here because I don't want to get distracted from a couple of things I think are really important. I find buy on Asia and sell later before up late at night. That's selling. So buy gold in Asian session, sell it later in the day. And I think you could probably just trade gold with the trend on that basis. Bitcoin broke 12K, then flash crashed. That's from the crypto guy. Well, thanks for that, Sukri. We'll hear some more from you, no doubt, in coming weeks. Ainsley, any final thoughts before we move on to Lloyd? I'm really looking forward to Lloyd's session. First time we've had him in.
Great. All I can say is let's see where this goes. Like I said, we've not been here. We're in uncharted territory. Give yourself some nice wide stops, and when you see a lot of, and hold on when it doesn't move. It flicks around a lot. So gold, all I can say is just be careful with gold. It doesn't move like the currencies. Give yourself wide stops, and where you feel comfortable, when you've made a profit, take profit and wait for the next setup.
Yeah, and don't rush, guys. I talked the other day about the fact I thought it was a buy and hold. If you believe 2003, 3,000, 4,000 or 10,000, I personally think gold is a buy and hold, and that there's plenty of money just been made from doing that, and there's just no need to take on the risk. If you're an inexperienced gold trader, you can buy and hold, and if you're and when I say buy and hold it for a week, 2 weeks. You can still take small opportunities. Actually, I'm going to have a session with the mentorship students about this, about the difference of risk in what predominantly is long-term a range-bound market like a currency market, and what is long-term an inflationary market like gold and the indices, and about risk and about what you can do with risk and how it's different trading a market that will predominantly go up over time, which is inflation-based like gold, commodities, indices, versus currency, which is one currency versus another, which predominantly in the long term will actually range. There'll be lots of trends inside the ranges, but there's actually from, over 100 years, you'll find a top and a bottom and it'll stay inside, whereas a stock market gold will go up, and you can trade your risk differently on those because of that. And I'll talk about that to the AKB mentorship students in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to have an hour with you guys on these things. Look, it's time to get to Lloyd. First time, I'm looking forward to hearing from Lloyd talking about his currency index analysis. Any last thought, Ainsley, for the week ahead? Looking for the pullback, or do you think next Sunday night will be above or below where we are? Or just going to wait? You'll be above. I like that, Ainsley.
I think that's where we're going.
Guys, I just want to thank.
Thanks, Geoff.
Look, I want to thank all the guys for the questions in that session. It's great to have some questions and be able to build on them as we chat about this stuff. It holds up a little bit on time, but I think it's fascinating. I think what your guys' questions are is what the show is really all about. Lloyd, welcome on board. How are you? Thank you, Ainsley. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Lloyd, are you with us?
Yep, Paul, I'm here.
So, Lloyd, what is currency index analysis?
I think currency indices is just giving me a broad overview how the currency has, that particular currency has behaved against other majors. Yeah. So
show us how you do that.
So I think just now you have already mentioned that the US index is weighted against the euro and other stuff. Yeah, so the euro currently has the heaviest. So this changes a bit over the time. Yeah, but it won't be any drastic changes. Yeah, so if any of you, I don't really find the numbers important. Yeah, but this is just giving a broad overview. Yeah. So when I'm doing my currency indices, this is the British pound. It does give me a general idea whether I should be bullish or bearish or neutral about that currency.
Sorry, Lloyd. These are trading view charts. And if I understand this, what you're saying is that the British pound currency index, it's quite a long name. British pound currency index is like the dollar index. It's the pound versus everything else.
Yes.
Like
pound
that.
versus everything else. Yeah. So it does give you a general idea how well that particular currency is performing. So that assists me in establishing a directional bias. So, and coupled with that, I usually use a round number for my horizontal level. I just want to keep things simple. So just giving a quick analysis is that the British pound, for all intent purposes, I think it has broke 130. The MACD does says that the momentum is still going strong. By the way, I'm just referring to the weekly chart. Yeah. So when I'm drilled down to the daily time frame, what it says to me is that high possibility that the price will just pull back a little. You can see that the momentum is dying, not dying, fading off on the last bar. So you probably pull back the 130, bounce off here, and then it goes off. Yeah. So that means on the following week, on the following Monday to Friday, I will really be looking for pound longs against other currency which may be setting up.
Now, let me just check on how this works, mate, because this fascinates me. Guys, if you're writing this, if you get a pen and paper, write this stuff down. It is interesting. So, sorry, I had a great question for you and it's gone. So you're saying, right now you're saying the pound is strong, and as we go through the different currencies, if you find one that's weak, will you try and trade the pound versus the one that's weak?
Yes, I definitely will. And for the purpose of this show, I've already, you can write this down. I mean, I've already put in order which is the strongest against the weakest. This is my order already. Pound, Euro, Swiss, Kiwi, Canadian, Yen, Aussie, and dollar. I'll be going through all of them anyway.
Fantastic. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
So that's the pound. Euro is really similar to pound. So you can see that on the weekly chart, the momentum is still strong. Yeah. So, but I can't ignore the week we are seeing on the chart currently. So the daily chart, what happens is that you can see that price against the momentum is not as strong as a pound. Yeah. So I will be expecting to do a slightly deeper retracement to 116. Yeah, just to close the gap and probably a bounce off from that. Followed by the Swiss. A lot of time I find rather fascinating that price hits a very nice round number 110, 120, and you ought to see some rejections. I think that's pretty normal. So you can see from the Swiss currency is that the momentum is just ridiculously strong. Yeah. So
okay. I'm going to jump in. Sorry, Lloyd, to ask so many questions. It's obviously the first time you've shown this, and so I find it really interesting. So the Swiss franc currency index would look very similar to the Swiss franc futures, right?
It will look really similar.
So this buying at this bounce off 110, this 110 level will also be a level that's a horizontal level on a futures chart, right?
Should be. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm just sorry to keep asking the questions, mate, but it's always great to see some different stuff shared with our people. I always find it really fascinating. Guys, if you've got any questions on this, jump in the box. I'm going to try and leave Lloyd alone for a few minutes to get into this now. Sorry, mate.
So Swiss franc on the daily chart, I think also only a slight retracement before it will break 110. Yeah. Then now the middle two pairs, the Kiwi and the CAD, is probably my neutral pairs. Yeah, I don't really have a particular strong long bias or short bias. So you can see that the Kiwi price goes to this probably around 67. Yeah, it has been rejected a couple of times, and you can see this is the time whereby the MACD really stands out to me is that you can see that there's a clear cut of momentum divergence between how the pairs move. So when it comes to this, then I'll be really, really careful in trying to put in any long trades for Kiwi really, because when you look at the daily chart, the divergence is even more pronounced. I'll just put in a new one. So you can see that the momentum is going down, price is going up. Yeah. So I'm not here to predict tops and bottom. It's just that when this is showing, that it puts me on a really, really high alert. Either I should be taking profit or I shouldn't be adding on position anymore. Yeah. So be really careful about this pair Kiwi at the moment. CAD, pretty much the same story. You can see that price hit 75, reversed. I think price will probably bounce off at the trend line and this horizontal level, just close the gap. Yeah. So on the weekly chart, you can see that against price is going up, momentum is coming down. So these two, Kiwi and CAD, are displaying really, really similar characteristics. So I'll be really careful of trading these two pairs at the moment. Yen, you can see that from the weekly chart for a long period of time, it's just been stuck between 90 and 95. So I've got no reason that to believe that price will actually break out anytime soon. Yeah. So on the daily chart, what we can see is that momentum, we have force break, price broke back down immediately. Yeah, so I'm kind of bearish about this. On the Aussie, you can see that very strong divergence we have against price going up, momentum going down, hitting a level of about 72, which in the past it also had trouble retracing to, I won't say breaking, retracing to. Yeah, so Aussie, I'm definitely bearish. And then last is dollar indices. The dollar indices, you can see that price is going down, respected by the momentum. And even on the daily chart. So for the dollar, I will only be suspecting it might be doing a very slight retracement, shallow retracement, and then back to 94, and then it will still continue on its downward journey. Yeah. So these are my currency indices analysis, the majors against the minors, not the minors, the majors themselves. It also gives me an idea that if you are trading, just to give you an idea, when you're trading the strongest against the weakest, most of the time I will be looking for breakout trades. There won't be any decent retracements. So you can see, let's say pound, I have been really bullish, and dollar, I've been really bearish. So this is really a classic case of strong against the weakest. And if you look at pound dollar on the daily chart, we don't have really deep retracements since last week. It's really consolidation breakouts. Over here, consolidations, breakouts. Yeah. So if you're looking for retracement, then I would suggest trading the strongest against the number 2 or number 3 weaker currency. Yeah. So that's just my opinion. So that's all, folks.
Cheers, Lloyd. These are TradingView charts that you've set up, or you can find these on TradingView themselves.
You can find this on TradingView itself. Yeah, you can actually go in. It is a free account. You don't need to subscribe.
Fantastic. It's got to say, the TradingView thing's a decent resource in its own way. As I think you guys know, I was posting some stuff for another company on, well, for some friends on TradingView a couple of years ago, and did enjoy the exercise. It was on crypto, and it was interesting stuff. Okay, guys, do you have any questions for Lloyd? If you can ask them, I'll be happy to ask Lloyd what he's here, mate. It's nice to see this interesting stuff, and I look forward to seeing this play out. I think often when we do these things for the first time, they're pretty simple for us, I guess, the concepts. But I think for people who are newer, it's probably quite a lot of information. So Alan's saying, are we going to be long cable versus Aussie, Kiwi, and yen this week? And it sounds to me like you are, Lloyd.
Technically speaking, pound and euro will be the strongest. Yen, Aussie, dollar will be the weakest. So yes, that's the play I'll be going with. I think it will be, in a way, anybody who's trading trend and retracement will be on the same page.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I think that's one thing it does. It should put you in step with the futures market as well, and that's a cool thing to do. So, okay, Lloyd, thank you very much for that. It's much appreciated. We have got Geoff coming up. Getting Simon, got your email. We'll reply to that for you early in the week. And the answer is definitely yes, Simon. We just haven't really done it. Getting a lot of questions about Ainslie's broadcast group and different ways you can get into it. We'll put some stuff out about that on Monday or Tuesday. And on Wednesday week in the next AW update, we will do a review of that offer for you guys and give you an individual offer for Ainslie's broadcast group as well. We've had a lot of inquiring question around it. So just let us know if you have any of those, and we will get back to people looking to jump into that as well. It's been a bonza week. A lot of guys doing really well, and this call is day by day becoming good knowledge sharing platform. Thanks, Paul, for having this for us. Oh, mate, it's an absolute pleasure. Look, I'm really enjoying. Someone asked me the other day what the point of the show was, and it made me think for a couple of weeks. But the point of the show is to show the breadth and depth of the knowledge our team have, and that we're a team, and how well we can work together. I'm going to encourage the guys to ask more questions of each other and to do it in a respectful way, because that's what we do when you guys aren't around. I think it's really fascinating for you guys to, I think it's great for you guys to see the breadth and depth of knowledge we have across a number of products and range, but also how much we're able to have these discussions and learn from each other. I just found the session with Lloyd, and it's nice to be the one that asks the questions because, yeah, mate, great stuff, Lloyd. You just look at it and go, wow, I could use that. And I think anytime you're looking at stuff and going, wow, I can use that, it's valuable. I hope that you're having some similar experiences today. ping these stuff as well. So when to buy gold stuff. Boy, some interesting stuff in this. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Geoff.
Hey.
Mate, I reckon we started this show about 270 years ago.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It really does at times. Maybe it's 8 or 9 years ago that you and I used to get together 3 or 4 times a week and do a show for free. And we called it the Trader Talk Radio. It was free to everybody. And, mate, it's come a long way, hasn't it? Some pretty amazing stuff in the last hour, isn't it?
I kind of feel like an uncle, mate. I really do. I feel like the family's just gone from strength to strength, grown exponentially, and the experience has been just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Had we, I think, set our sights on this, and maybe you did that period of time ago, I think you'd be very pleased with the outcome at this point in time, and certainly I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah, mate. You know me. I never set my I don't genuinely plan that way. I just look for opportunities and let them unfold. I'm super proud of the team, as you know, mate. And you're not the uncle. You're the granddad, mate. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. You're our granddad. You're the company.
Well, there you go. I'm happy to wear that,
mate. We're going to have you take us through 4 charts. I think you said yen charts to me at the start. I think you said CAD yen, Aussie yen, Kiwi yen, and Euro pound. It's always nice. I really think to anchor the show with just let's get in some charts and do some TA. So let's hear from you guys. If you've got any questions, put them in the question. Always my favourite Uncle Geoff. Nice. From Sri, another one who's been on a pretty astounding run for the last 3 or 4 months. It's it's nice to be in a show full of people that are doing really well. And look, for the people who are out there that are battling along a little bit, I hope you don't feel like your nose is being rubbed in. That's not the point. Having people who are doing really well and talking about it's about making sure you guys know what's possible and stick with it. Every single one of these guys who's made all this money will be able to tell you a story about their breakthrough and what it took to get them from, that break-even phase, that profit phase. Maybe it was a month with Julian on his program. Maybe it was just a few special words they heard from somebody in a show somewhere that just gave them that moment. For every person, it's different. And if we knew what it was, we would just tell you what it is. But what we know is that these guys are doing it and you can do it as well. And I can tell you that I see the journeys a lot more closely than you do. And these aren't all super smooth journeys. These aren't all ping and all of a sudden start making lots of money. He's had his periods which have been good and he's had his periods where it's struggled. And he's shown that the fortitude to get back and to get it right and to take the fact that he knew he can do it and build onto a consistent record. And full credit to him for doing that. Full credit to him. But wherever you are on the journey, just hang tight and understand that your day and your moment will come if you keep working at it. There's only 2 types of traders in my mind. This is my opinion. There's those that make money and those that quit. And if you don't quit and you stay in an environment like we provide over time, I believe you will get there. Geoff, let's get into some charts.
Right, mate. I don't think we'd be here if that wasn't the case. I think we're all of the same opinion and certainly the same outlook. I'm going to be a little bit. The word for it is probably it's not controversial. It's kind of no. The word's not there. It's not coming. I'm going to go one way, and then I'm going to go the other. I'll put it that way. And I'm sure you won't be surprised at that because that's kind of the way I am. But the very first thing I'm going to look at is CAD yen, and that's a monthly chart that we're looking at. And the reason I look at the monthly chart is because that's where I see a structure. And the structure that I see is clearly telling me that we've bounced off a support level in the bottom of this descending channel. But it's not only the bottom of that channel, it's also a strong support level through here and has been over the last 3 or 4 years, or 4 years, let's call it. But it's also got history beyond that as well. And that very, very strong consolidation area, which is kind of magnified by the duplicity of the candles here. There are 2 for every one, for whatever reason. The charts just do that sometimes. But this is a strong level that we're at on CAD yen on the monthly chart. And we've tried to get beyond that previous level of support, which is almost as strong as the one below it, and failed to a point. We got beyond it, and then we pulled back to it. And that's the interesting scenario that we've got there right now. We've got a bullish candle that has got a very, very long tail on it. We've got a bearish candle that's also got a very, very long tail on it on the monthly chart. So very, very difficult to actually draw a line through that. But I guess the one thing that is evident is that we are still above that level. We're above that support level, or resistance level, if you want to put it that way. But the thing that I draw from that is that we have come off this strong support level. We put in a higher high. Sorry, it's not a higher high based on that. On a smaller time frame, you'll see that there's a higher high, and now we've probably put in a lower low on a smaller time frame as well. And that kind of is where we're at here. Big tweezer bottom sitting here on that particular level that I spoke of. I love tweezer tops and tweezer bottoms when they're substantial on big time frames, because they do tell me a story. And this one is. We went straight into consolidation, funnily enough, after we got to there, and came back and tested that level that we looked at before, took off like a rocket, and through the secondary level again that I just pointed out. That red line is this week's weekly pivot, or tomorrow's weekly pivot. And interestingly, we are closed above that, and we have broken and retested that level, which is a confluence of that support level again that we speak of. Now, you're probably thinking that eventually I'll come to a point here, and I will, as I go down the charts. And the point I'm going to come to is I see a potential for this to be a false break of that level, which is the weekly pivot, in concert with the support and resistance level that I have just pointed out. So on the daily chart, what we've got is a little trade line coming through here, and we've snuck below it, but we've powered back above it. The weekly pivots drop below this level, and by G and by Jingo, if I see tomorrow a retest of that level, in particular this weekly pivot, so if price were to come back here at any stage, I'll be looking to buy that. Where to? Targets, weekly pivots, obviously not going to be there tomorrow. It's down here, so that won't be an issue. But the monthly pivot looks to be a sensational target here. And that's pretty much where I'll be looking for Monday, Tuesday, for price to actually come back and give me that level that I'm looking for, and then shoot back up to the monthly pivot. I don't know I want to go too far above that, to be honest. But if you look at this back on those bigger time frames that I spoke of, you've got plenty of room to take us up to here. Maybe there's a confluence area that we can look at through there as well. That wouldn't be the worst level in there somewhere to find. You know, I'm talking about Christmas time over here, but you know, I think we're going to struggle to get through that level, 81.48, and that's kind of where you might let your last little leg of this trade go to, around about that level there. 81.50, I think, is probably a good exit point. That's some 300 pips away from here, and that makes it worthwhile if we can find a way in here as a retest, as I say, of that trade line. And even better, if it came back and retested tomorrow's weekly pivot, then I'll be looking to trade this long. Yes, Dennis, pound Kiwi. We're going pretty well on pound Kiwi, I've got to say. I think we've got about 400 pips up at the moment on pound Kiwi. I'll talk about that in just a tick. But if there's any questions on CAD Yen, then please go ahead. This one's going to be just a little bit on the reverse. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. We're waiting for any questions on CAD Yen. Look, I really want to encourage guys to keep asking questions. I think that's a really cool part of it. And look, you know, sometimes we get lots of questions and we can't answer them all, but I do encourage you guys to keep asking questions as we go along. That pound Kiwi is well up, isn't it? But yeah, look, I just think it's really cool to get a few questions in here. We won't be able to have all of them after any day, but there's been some great questions today. It does help us to have a bit more conversations. And the team, I really encourage the team. I know there's some of the team in different, you know, who are, you know, by now moved on from the show and off to get some sleep or do some work, depending on where they are in the world. Orlando will be asleep. It's 5 o'clock in the morning in El Salvador. Amazing his commitment to be here at all. And much appreciated.
Orlando asleep? I thought he hung up beside down in his cave.
What was
He's
this? Sorry?
He's like a bat. He's up all. I thought he hung upside down in his cave. He's like a bat. He's up at all hours.
He is. He works some strange. Don't know how he does it at times, mate. And,
No, amazing.
Been a reasonably tough week for him too. Working kind of weird hours and having a bit of bad stuff going on around. You can't be easy. Got a question from Swee. At one end, oil price may come down. This may potentially weaken the CAD. That's a fair point.
Absolutely, it may, but then again, it may not. Agree with that.
Fair point. That's a fair point too.
Is that a good response?
I think it's a fair response, Geoff. And again, we talked about this a little bit earlier, isn't it? Well, what we have to do is have opinions and watch them play out and make decisions as we watch them play out. And it's great to have thoughts at this time of the week and have a look at what might happen. But then we have to make good decisions and get it right from here. Sorry, mate. Back to you.
Look, I think we spoke about it earlier, Paul. It's amazing the amount of different traders that we've got seeing different things in the market at different times. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. What I think is dangerous is to change your point of view based on what one or any one of those people might see, because they might be seeing it entirely different in a different time frame and a completely different complexion than you are. And nothing changes for me in terms of what I see on a macro picture, and what I see on a macro picture is this price bouncing off this level and going to this level at some stage. Is this the time for it? Got no idea. May not be. But if I've got a setup that tells me that there's an opportunity to get into that, then that's exactly what I will do. If built into the strategy that I trade is some sort of an insurance policy that tells me if oil does crash and the CAD does crash, then hopefully I won't be taken into the trade that I've set up. And that's primarily what I'm all about all the time. It's building that insurance policy into the system that keeps me sane, I suppose, as the grandfather. You don't want to get too excited at any time, because I won't go on with that. But
settle down, Jeffrey. One of the things, Geoff, is that there's a good chance if it goes against you that it won't put you in. There's also a chance that if it puts you in, it'll get you to break even before it goes short, goes against you.
As quickly as possible, yes.
There's actually a very small window for where it can go wrong and hurt you the way you trade, right?
Yeah, look, it's not super exciting, but generally it's very good for the nerves, and that's precisely what it's built around. The strategy is built around being quickly in a safe position, and that's entirely where I'm at. And as Swee correctly says, if oil goes short here, then so does the CAD. But if it goes short at the right time, and that's what trading is all about, right? It's all about timing. Then, as you say, I shouldn't be put into that trade. And if I am in that trade, then I'm probably at a safe place by the time it does. And that's the whole key to it.
Yeah, I really like that, mate. Okay, cheers for that, Geoff. What next for us?
Well, we're going to swing around to the other side, I think, and go with Aussie yen. And Aussie yen, if we go to the bigger picture. And what I see here is a similar scenario where we've bounced off the bottom of a descending channel. Have we come to the top is the question that I have to ask myself. And I have to look at confluence here. And confluence here, that's the weekly pivot for next or for tomorrow, right? We're bang on it in terms of our price on the monthly chart. But we're also at a very strong support and resistance area. Or are we? Where is that level? Is that level there where the weekly pivot is? Or is that level just that little bit higher about there? I tend to think maybe that is the level right there. And there's a confluence area over here as well. But we've already double tested that level in the last week or so. Last 2 months. And if you go back to, where are we? Turn of the year or whatever it is, that there's a pretty substantial double top sitting here on a strong support level, in my humble opinion. So I'm just not 100% whether this is the right time to go short, and I'm looking for price to tell me whether that is the case. But gee whiz, I think there's a short on the cards here at some stage, and that's pretty much where I'm focused for the rest of this week. What would I like to see? Well, you can see that we're finding it very, very difficult to break this, whatever it is, 76.50 level, let's say. I think we're nearly ready to go in the opposite direction. This double top's very interesting to me on the weekly chart. The daily chart is also going to give me exactly that, a big double top sitting here. That weekly pivot drops to here tomorrow. If we can get underneath that and retest it, gee whiz, I think there's a short on the cards here. And if that's the case, then the potential reward on this one, similar to what I've been speaking about on pound Kiwi for the last couple of weeks, is absolutely substantial. We could get down to here without too much trouble. And if we're going to continue this, what I call a range, the bottom of the channel, then we're kind of out of sight down to the 50 level. I'm not predicting that, but what I am saying is if we get the timing right here, then we could be in for a pretty good ride. So that's exactly going to be my focus in the next couple of days. It's going to be Aussie yen short. I am a bear, the Aussie. The yen, as I said before, on the CAD side of things, I think it's iffy. But if this starts to go, I think there's a big reward available, as I said, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So this could be the start. Not a great candle to trade on the daily chart from tomorrow, but I think from the 4-hour point of view, or even the daily point of view on Tuesday or Wednesday, if we can get below the new weekly pivot and retest it, I think there's a short on the cards there for Aussie yen. Questions?
Right, as the questions come in, can I confirm that tomorrow is the first time you and Ash are back together in a month? We'll have
yes,
you
it
guys
is,
back
mate.
together for the free sessions and the paid sessions. 3 sessions just before 3 o'clock sing, and the paid sessions around 9 p.m. sing. First time back together for a month, and going to have a pretty good week, I'd have thought.
Yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to the US session because we've been for the past 9 months trialing a UK Open breakout trade on pound US dollar. Yep. And we've now got 9 months of data available to us to dissect and analyze, which we'll be doing as of tomorrow on the US session. So we'll be pulling that apart. And it's been up and down, I've got to say. We had a great start. We got up, I think, about 14 or 15% in the first couple of weeks of that, in the first 2 months, 3 months. Then it went downhill badly. And we're going to try and dissect that. Then it came back, and it's just been all over the shop, to be fair. But we're going to pull that to pieces and see if we can actually come up with a reliable strategy to trade that. And I think we can. In fact, I've got no doubt we can. And I think that's going to be of incredible value to people to actually watch that unfold and see how we actually put that together and come up with a tradable scenario.
Right, tomorrow when you log in, instead of going 3 dots YouTube live, go 3 dots custom streaming, and it'll take you to the Facebook channels as well. Perhaps we could have James give you a bit of help with that tomorrow as well. It'd be nice to have the free show going out on Actions to Wealth Facebook, Online Trading Profits Facebook, and people have already shared a couple of this show to a couple of other Facebooks of their own, so it can sort of be continually pushed on. And we should be live on Twitter within a week as well, so the stuff should really be hitting out as well.
Happy days. 2 more to look at.
Swee, can you take that over with Shirlene tomorrow? And I'll get James to give you some help. I'm away this week, so the team will take care of that for you. I'm sure it's not far away. James won't have missed out. If he has missed out, he'll sort it out for you. I do apologise if that's the case. Look, Sanjay, it's nice to hear from you. I don't think we can do a US dollar index overview now. We're coming up past an hour and a half. We try and get the show over, and I kind of accept an hour and a quarter. We're nearly at an hour 45. And we have had Orlando talk about the US dollar in some detail. I think Julian touched on it as well. So I can't do a US dollar index overview now just because I've really got to end the show at some stage reasonably soon. You got one more chart, Geoff, you're going to do? Still got Euro pound
Two
to go, don't you?
quickies. Two quickies. Kiwi yen's
Two
going to
quickies
be
is-
very, very brief. Yep.
2 quickies is fine, mate.
And I will definitely be doing dollar index in the UK session tomorrow, without a question, because it's very, very important. But if you want an overall scenario of it, it's in shitloads of trouble. I'll put it that way. It's falling quickly, but it is due a retracement. We'll go through that tomorrow. Kiwi yen is pretty much exactly the same, if not better, than is the Aussie yen chart, and the reason is that we have indeed touched the top of this range. I called it a range. Sorry, it's a descending channel, but to me, it's a range. So this candle's really interesting for me on a monthly chart. In fact, if you're looking at trading monthly charts, I would suggest that's probably even tradable. And we'll get into that more tomorrow in the UK session. It's also similar on the weekly chart. I love these bars, the reversal bars that have got a bullish body to them. I think they're fantastic. So I'll be looking tomorrow very, very closely at that same scenario, big double top. Weekly pivot becomes here tomorrow. Anything underneath that and a retest is really, really what I'm looking for. So it's the same as the Aussie yen. Now, pound versus the euro, or euro pound as it is on our trading charts, is also very, very interesting to me. We've been looking to short this for the longest time. And look at these bars here. They're just telling you, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, ready to go. And it wasn't ready to go. For how long have we been looking at that? A month, pretty much. We've been looking to trade this short for a month. Interestingly, we've now got that bit of a start, I suppose. We had a break of the weekly pivot last week, a retest of the weekly pivot. Very difficult position for me, but we did manage to find a way in. It was underneath the monthly pivot. So I'm not that far advanced in this trade, but we are now looking at a break of a substantial structure that we've been in since April. So, pardon me, on that, the daily chart tomorrow, I would love to see a retest of this breakdown here of that channel. It can happen on any time frame. But the daily would be the one that I'll be looking for. So I'll be looking to really trade that or elevate my risk, if you like. I'm not at any risk at the moment because I'm free trading it, but I would look to scale into this if we did get a nice little bullish bar there tomorrow. And on Tuesday, I'd certainly look to add to my position on euro pound. In terms of the bigger picture, it's not an easy cross, I've got to say, but you can see again that we're at a very, very strong resistance level. And the last time we came off the boundary, if you like, was with this massive bar here, incredible bar here, that snuck through the top of the range and then retraced like nothing else. We've now put in a lower high based on the high of that bar. And gee whiz, I think this has got potential to go definitely, technically, I should never use the word definitely, and I should wash my mouth out with soap. But I'm looking at this, 83 level down here, and we're currently at 90.40. That's a nice 700 pip run if you can get into it, and that's why I like this one so much. I think there's a massive reward available, as I do on all of those crosses that I've just shown you. So on the basis of big rewards available, I think this one is one for, I won't say the ages, but gee whiz, I think it's a good trade if it comes back and retests that area there. Really do. That's me, mate.
Cheers, mate. I want to talk about something just really briefly before we wind that up. And it's been I've really enjoyed the show. And for the team, I'll be in the chit-chat and team chit-chat in about 5 minutes. I'll open that up so we can have a chit-chat. I've got a call through. I have to mute my end of it for a little while I do a call, but I'll be in for a catch-up with you guys reasonably soon. But look, it's really easy as a trader when you hear massive returns to think must push into the market. And what massive returns means is I've got plenty of time. But there's absolutely no need to force my way in here. If I don't get this entry, I'll get the next lower high or the next lower high or the next lower high. I'm going to have plenty on a 700 pip move. And it's really easy to get really excited and go, he's talking about, this going this far, and I can make this. Oh, wait for the action, wait for the chart to confirm the move and take the high quality entry you see. And if you get Geoff, that's fantastic. If you don't get Geoff, that's okay. There'll be another one. Just understand that we're talking about this market going a long way and providing great opportunities. Guys, it's the first show with Pung Ni in the show. Boy, he had a little bit, didn't he? Taking gold back to daily pivot every day. That is looking pretty profitable from his recollection. Lloyd came in and talked about currency indexes, and I thought that also provided us a little bit of tradable perspective. The pound is the strongest. I think we had Aussie, New Zealand down the bottom. Thanks for the feedback coming in, guys. It's nice to hear. We've had Ainslie on gold. We've had Orlando, the swing trader, come in. We've had Alexis do fundamentals for us. It's wonderful to get the whole team, and I'm really enjoying the show with the whole team. I'm not managing to keep it anywhere near my hour. We are overrunning a little bit, but it's fascinating stuff. Geoff, as always, plenty of interesting stuff in there as well. Julian, the master, if Geoff is the granddad of us, he's the much respected man in the team, and Julian, again, the senior trader really in the organisation right now. Great to have input from him as well. It's been a fantastic session, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it a lot. First time on Facebook, Online Trading Profits. First time on Facebook for Actions to Wealth. We'll be live streaming this out every week from now on. We'll be... Oh, no worries, man. You don't have to ask questions. Appreciate those that can. We'll be streaming out on Twitter as well. We understand in the next few weeks, we're just getting through the details of how to do that. We're not great at some of the technology stuff. We need some help. James, the master, comes along and saves us. Nice, Shukri. I'm looking forward to having Shukri. It'll be a week before you hear from me, but you will hear from me. Great show. Yeah, cheers, guys. You're more than welcome. Hey, guys. Once again, thank you for joining us. For the team, you guys have always brought great insight. We really do appreciate your contribution. And to all of those who have joined and listened today, I hope you'll take away something that's a benefit to you. If every week you come along and learn a little bit of something, you'll end up being a great trader at the end of a period of time. So keep coming along, keep learning. We'll be back next Sunday with a similar type of show. I'm trying to think where we are. I have a feeling that from what I remember, next week is the second Sunday of the month, and that makes it Julian week. I will just see if I can scroll back up and check my list, but I'm pretty sure that makes it Julian week, which will put Julian in the hot seat having a chat for us. He says madly scrolling back up to see his list. There we go.
Contradictory.
What's contradictory?
That was the word I was looking for when I first started, mate. I finally got it.
We'll be back with Julian next week. We've got Paul Hutton the week after, Ash the week after, Orlando back on the 30th, so busy month. Guys, we're looking at doing a trading event with a few of our partners, doing an all-day trading education event, so keep that in mind. We've got a new trader joining the team. We'll be hearing from him on a Saturday in about 2 to 3 weeks. Details will come out about that not far away. Again, we've spent, I only allow one new trader to join our team every year. You guys will be meeting him in the next month, and he's quite exceptional. We are having some conversations with a very high-profile fundamentalist as well to come in and give us some help as well. So, as always, lots going on in the business, lots going on in trading, lots going on in the markets. It's a fabulous old time, guys. Have a good night tonight. Get some sleep. Look after yourselves and trade well this week. Hey, see if you can back it up. It's a great challenge in sports, a great challenge in trading. Good week last week. A lot of people made a bit of money. It's always nice to see. Can you turn up this week and back it up? I certainly hope you can. Cheers, guys. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Hooroo.
Paul, just off drop a line on Monday. We'll get back to you. We've had a lot of questions about those broadcast scripts. We will get back to those. Cheers, everybody. And Simon will take care of you as well. See you guys.